Forex trading is actually one of the hardest ways of making easy money. And I'm just going to be sharing with you some of those things that I wish I knew when I started Forex trading about 5 years ago, right? That might also be able to help you, so like level up your game or before you start even thinking about trading Forex, right? So the first thing that I have to talk about is that it is not as easy as people put it to be on social media, right? So you see that on social media, people are so like just posting on Instagram, TikTok. You see a $70 account going to what 5,000 in one trade, just trading gold. You see on TikTok someone raising a $70 account, just entering gold 17 seconds, and they already what they're already in $2,000 profit, right? Just scalping, and it's not as easy as people put it to be on social media, right? Those are just the rare cases, rare exceptional people, right? Those are, should I say rare exceptional? Because some of them might also be editing those videos, those pictures, so that you think they're making that amount of money. Some of the things that you see on social media are fake, right? Because they're just trying to lure you in, and you don't know even if it is a real account, even if they did make that money, but they didn't show you. So like how many times they've blown, how many times they lost money. They are just showing you the one time that it worked, right? Because everyone is that one time when they so like make an unimaginable amount of money what in a short period of time, but it's not replicable over and over again. It's just what for that specific period of time. It's like not consistent trading that way, right? So that's the first thing that I want to talk about, right? It's not as easy as, or it's not as simple as people on people on social media put it to be, right? So that's one thing. Then I've written these things down, so I'm just going to be looking at my phone for time to time because I've written those things down, right? The second thing is that nowadays there are more scammers, right, than there are real mentors, right? Because people, especially those people that I was talking about on social media, right? It's not all of them that are making those amounts of money, right? But though there are, of course, the few, right, that are actually making that money, that are actually motivated to teach other people, so like to guide other people so that they can also become what better people, better traders, right? But they're just a few. Most of the people that you see on social media, they just want you to pay money for their robots. They're just saying that this robot enters this and that. They just want you to buy their robots, buy their signals and all that, and then they make money from you, and then you see them flexing with your money that you gave them for what? For robots, for everything, and you think that it's trading money. Rather, it's just what your money that you've bought your robots or whatever. Those things, some of them might work, but especially robots, I haven't seen any robot that actually works. Forgive me, maybe I didn't buy robots, but I I don't think if I had a robot that makes a lot of money, I would want to share it with anyone else, right? Rather, the money that you're supposed to give me, I'll just put it in and it's going to make money for me in a few seconds. And why would I? Okay, never mind that. And the third thing that I want to talk about is no strategy is better than another, right? So you see someone trading BTMM, someone trading ICT, someone trading, I don't know, whatever it is that you're trading, strategy that you're using, but at the end of the day, most of those strategies actually work, almost all of them. The only strategies that don't work are maybe if they don't allow you to incorporate risk reward ratio. Otherwise, any strategy can work because risk reward ratio is just the most important thing, because every strategy has its own time of working, right? So it doesn't mean if you didn't get an entry today, it doesn't mean that your strategy doesn't work. It works, but that's why it's called a strategy, because there are specific times or specific slots for you to take an entry, right? As long as if you're able to incorporate risk reward ratio on that strategy, then it's going to work, right? And because the most important thing is that when you win, you make more money than when you're losing, right? Even if you lose multiple times, when you win, you should be able to cover most of those losses or all of them, right? So that's why risk reward ratio is the most important thing, rather than focusing on which strategy works, right? Though of course there is a strategy that's like resonates with you that you do better at, right? So if once you find a strategy that's like you are able to be consistent with, then don't stress over strategies that much. Rather stress on how you can improve your risk reward ratio, how you're supposed to be using your risk reward ratio. Let's say you entered over here, right? And your resistance is over there. right? You should put an appropriate lot size, right? So that, let's say you've got $100 account, you want to risk $10, right? You should calculate which lot size you're supposed to be using, so that when the market reaches this resistance over here, or breaks or invalidates your setup, then that's when the $10 is going to be, so your stop loss is going to be used, rather than you put a large lot size that before even the market even reaches or invalidates your setup, you have already been stopped out by $10, right? So you should put a lot size that gives room for the trade to work out, because that's overall what matters in the market, winning and losing less when you lose. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is that uh, so like trading small amounts, a small account is harder than trading a larger account, right? It's harder to make money when you're trading a small account rather than when you're using than when you're trading a large account, right? And this is also, this point is also like relative, because a small account, it depends on who we're talking about, right? As for me, $1,000 account is a large account, but if you think of someone like what Coach of Forex, right? Of course, $1,000 is a small account to him, might be a small account to him, we don't know, right? And a $50 account can be a small amount. A $100 account can be a small account, but to someone it's a large account, right? So this point is all like relative, but whatever it means, whatever it is, just know that having a small account is so like hard. It's hard for you to make money when you have a small account. Let's put a let's think of it this way, right? Let's think of the amount that you have in your account is what lives in a game, right? So if you have, let's say, $1,000, you've got 10 lives. If you've got $100, you've got 10 lives, right? So who has better chances of passing a level? The one with 100 lives or the one with 10 lives, right? Who has got a better chance? Because what we're saying is that maybe you've got a bad trading week, right? You lose 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades, right? And you've already blown your account, right? Rather than when you have a large account, right? You have blown 6, 7 times, right? You haven't still blown, right? And you find better setups, right? And the better setups, since you've got since you've got a good risk reward ratio, you're going to be winning big, right? So you've got more chances for you to enter, even if after a bad week, after a bad trading day, you still have more chances for you of you winning, right? So that's like what the best so like what the good side of having a larger account, because you've got more lives, more chances for you to enter, even if after a bad trading week experience, whatever it is, right? That's the fourth thing, right? Then the fifth thing that I want to talk about is, so like, it's also like opposing this second point that I gave, but it's hard for you to grow when you don't have a mentor, right? It's hard for you to start making money when you don't have a mentor. It's easier for you to grow when you've got a mentor, because if someone who you can ask, I'm facing such and such a challenge, how can I fix it? Or if you ever faced such and such a challenge before, how did you do it? Right? It's easier for you to grow because someone is telling you or what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, which mistakes you're supposed to avoid, right? So it's easier for you to grow without making those same mistakes, right? And I can affirm to this because I've been trading for 5 years, and I know that if I had a mentor, I have avoided some mistakes that I made, right? So that I didn't make what same mistakes. If you have someone to ask advice, or even maybe a trading group or something like that, just somewhere where you can get advice from those who are more experienced. They can tell you what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do, or some things that you can avoid, right? Although those, you can still make some mistakes, even those that have been corrected before, that you have been warned about before, you can still make them because you haven't experienced them firsthand, right? So you might still make the same mistakes, but it's overall going to be easier for you to grow. It's going to take a shorter period of time for you to become profitable than when you don't have a mentor. Then the sixth thing that I want to talk about is that you have to be patient, right? You have to be patient with your own journey, right? Not every journey is going to be the same, right? Someone starts forex trading today and they are going to be profitable in 1 month, in 2 months, 6 months, and you might start forex trading and you might be profitable in 1 year, 2 years, right? It all depends, right? So what am I saying? You don't have to compare with yourself with other people on social media, or even your trading group, or even or those people that you know, because as for me, right, I might be making $200 a day and you're making $20 a day, right? You're making $20, but you are forgetting the fact that maybe when you started you were making $2 a day, right? You have grown, but just that because you are comparing yourself with someone who is making much more than you and you want to replicate their results, right? It's not going to work because each and every person has their own rate of growth, right? So just focus on your journey and not on other people on social media, or especially on social media, because you are going to think that you're going to think that you are not you're wasting your time, you are not being profitable or something like that, and you end up making mistakes, trading emotionally, over leveraging your account and all those mistakes, right? So focus on your journey because that's who you are. That's so like what's going to be beneficial to you in the long run, rather than what wanting to what compare yourself with others, being in competition, right? Then the seventh thing that I want to talk about is that trading a demo account, let's say you're trading a demo account, right? You're not going to be replicating those same results that you're trading on demo, that you're seeing on demo, right? So if you're trading like a demo account, I know that you're making $2,000 a day. You're not going to be replicating those same results because trading a demo and trading real money is, those are two different things, right? Because now you're emotionally attached. This is the real money that you're losing. On a demo account, you can lose $200 and still hold that trade because there's it's not like what there's no tangible money. There's nothing that affects you emotionally, so you can hold that trade, right? Rather than on a real account, every small loss you're going to be, so like you're going to be thinking, should I close? Should I not? So like it's now having what a mental trauma, mental challenge, mental what, or you're now thinking more, right? And the answer, you are going to be either making mistakes or entering too early, exiting trades too early, and they eventually end up in profit, and you're going to have a lot of regret than when you're trading a real account, right? So from time to time, it's better that you deposit a small amount, $10 or any amount, so that you see how the trading a real account actually feels like, right? So that you can so like accommodate that feeling also, right? Then the last thing that I want to talk about is that the market doesn't also always follow what you want. The market does what it wants, right? The market is like weather. It does what it wants, when it wants, where it wants, whatever, right? Because it's the market, right? So even if your setup or your strategy gets invalidated, if a streak of what losing trades or your setups being invalidated, it doesn't necessarily mean that your strategy doesn't work. Of course, you may find ways that you can tweak a little bit so that it becomes easier, so like it becomes more profitable. But overall, it's not that your trading strategy has stopped working or anything like that. It's just that market does what it wants when it wants. There's no one who is able to control the market, right? So yeah, that's it. Remember, you're the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Peace.